trial begins Monday in Memphis. Our cameras will be there for it all. The trial is expected to last 2 weeks. Still with me, criminal defense attorney and past president of the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, Lorenzen Zimmerman. Lawrence, this is a tough one. This guy, the defendant in this case, is a felon with a long rap sheet of misdemeanors and felonies. When he was picked up, he was found to have a pistol on him. Again, not uncommon, but he had to plead to get the case out of the way to 16 years for being a felon with a gun. As you know, once you're convicted of a felony, cannot carry a gun. When you're a felon and you're in the system, I mean, there are, we talk about 3 strikes, there's 10 strikes against you. It's always difficult when your client is a felon with a long record.
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than having a client who has a long, you'd say there's nothing worse, but it's difficult when you're starting with that as a background to have a long record, Michael, for sure.
You know, what's interesting about this case is that he turned his life around. And apparently, just from reading some of the paperwork involved in the case, there were going to be a lot of people from the church who are going to come in and testify about him. But what the state has is they have a witness, someone who's going to come in. Actually, they have 2 witnesses. One of them is named, this guy by the name of Jimmy Martin. Apparently, he had firsthand information that this guy committed the crime. And he came in and ratted on him. I think a friend of Jimmy Martin's pointed police to where the gun was. It was found in a lake somewhere. I would imagine if you were defending this guy, what you really want to do, now Jimmy Martin's not a good guy. He's got a long history of crime. You basically want to point the finger at him, no?
Sure, muddy him up, point to his rap sheet when he testifies, all his prior convictions and his potential motive to lie about this, and how does he know where the gun is, and why was he told? Maybe he's the one that threw the gun in the lake after he committed the murder. That's always a possibility to the defense.
Now, there's a document. Now, Sherra, she pled to, the crime of facilitating murder because she supposedly conspired with this guy to get this done. She actually wanted to get her plea thrown out. She was claiming that she was coerced and had ineffective assistance of counsel. They had threatened her family. In that document where she was seeking to get it thrown out, her plea, she said that her husband, Lorenzen Wright, the NBA player, was involved with the mob, and it was actually a mob hit that took him out. Now, let's say, look, none of that's been verified. This is all part of a document. She ultimately withdrew that and accepted her plea and is just going to serve her time. But let's say some of that information is true, that perhaps there was these other connections. How do you go about getting all that in front of a jury?
Get a really good investigator involved and start tracking down all of these potential leads and interviewing people and try to figure out if Wright was actually involved in anything nefarious. Check his banking records, phone records, social media, who he's hanging out with. I mean, I'm sure if he really was involved, I'm sure he'd have some close friends that would know this information. That's how you would get that, and then and then present the evidence potentially as an alternative, or the possible defense.
But who do you get it in through? Do you then call the investigator? How do you get in information, or how do you make it relevant, this idea that perhaps there's this whole other theory you're trying to develop? As a defense attorney, sometimes it can be difficult to get some of that information in. The judge likes to keep things focused a lot of the time.
Well, sure, but if you find some witnesses that have personal knowledge, they could testify to what to that knowledge, right? So that's no problem. They could get it that way.
Interesting. All right, and finally, one of the interesting things about this case is that the defendant in this case, Billy Ray Turner, says he's innocent, right? Has turned his life around or whatever. But apparently, they're going to bring in witnesses who are going to testify to the fact that he was talking about his involvement in this crime. Again, as a defense attorney, I mean, when you get this type of evidence, it just makes things so difficult. How do you deal with that?
These are harder questions you're asking, Michael. Yeah, those are tough cases. I hate when you have these facts. I mean, you got to figure out a way to deal with it. I mean, who was he talking to? What was he saying? And why? It's, you got to sort of peel the onion back and figure out the who, what, where, when, and really the why, or would they lie about your client? And what's the relationship? Are they in trouble? Do they have a reason to lie? Are they trying to get something? Is there a financial motive? Is there incentive to avoid some kind of punishment because they're in trouble legally? Is there some civil matter pending? You know, I mean, you just don't. You got to really look into these people. In any case, you got to get a good defense investigator, really examine a lot of different people to really come up with a coherent defense to fight back.
Yeah, and again, Lawrence, we don't know tremendous amount about the case. We're just starting to get the paperwork in, but it seems like just about everyone involved does have a lot of issues, so the investigator is going to be very busy in this case. All right, Lawrence, stand by.
He's an NBA player, so I mean, I don't know. I'd be shocked to see he was involved in the mob. I mean, but you never know.
You know, these guys, you know, oftentimes, and we've seen it before in all sports, you know, these guys come from areas and situations that, you know, are very different than a lot of the lives, you know, a lot of other folks lead that you and I lead. And it's hard to leave a lot of that behind. You know, a lot of them have connections that they feel they have to hold on to. So it can become a little difficult for these guys. So, you know, would not surprise me if there was some connection there somehow. You know, these guys, it's as simple as maybe they bought him some sneakers, you know, early on in his career and they realized he had potential and want something from him. You just don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right, Lawrence,
but the spouse is always the first one they look at.
Yes, and you know, there's some other information. I don't want to throw it out there yet because, again, we're just starting to get information about the trial, but some interesting information about Sherra, which points a finger at her as well. So, again, a lot to come out in this trial. No clean hands in this case, Lawrence. All right, stand by now. We're going to take a break, but we